It's Tuesday, March 24th, 2020. I'm here with Hans Comyn in Floripa. It's about our seventh morning. Wow, seventh morning in Brazil. And maybe it's Hans' sixth, my seventh. We've finished with our morning rituals and just want to introduce this topic as we narrate the war that we and our brothers are fighting. What is a man? What is a man? Why don't you say something about that?
What is a man?
To you, yeah. What is a man? What makes a man a man?
What makes a man a man?
Yes.
It's penetrative force.
Okay. What else? Like what, let's say you've got an adult male physically. What separates him from being, let's say, a boy or a man?
Leadership, self, penetrative force.
So here's what I was just thinking the other day as I was writing some notes.
Didn't need much time there to think about.
It's in line with what you said. One who still contribute to it as you think about it. One who boldly confronts reality and does what is necessary. And if you want to boil it down, right? So, like, he has courage. He faces reality, the problem at hand. That's one. He takes responsibility. So he owns, like, I'm the one to solve it, do something about it. Two, he does find a solution, a way forward, a vision. And then he follows through and he does what he says. He does what he said he's going to do and he sees it through. I was thinking of this in terms of like a presentation or a webinar for guys that we could do.
Can I speak to that? To me, as I see it, and maybe it's existential philosophical, when I see the boy becoming a man, it's where he grows from being reactive to being proactive and being a leader, which means it's just taking, as a boy, he's seen this, and taking care of whatever comes his way. And when he becomes a man, it's like transformed into looking at it all, taking care of the whole thing, his people, the situation, whatever that is. So for me, the leadership is really key. And that's leadership is in the first step, self-leadership, taking responsibility for your own world. And then the second step is leadership of your people. You just take responsibility that everyone is whatever.
Is whatever?
Yeah, happy, fulfilled, thriving, connected. Can you hear me?
So, I would tie this question into what I really see is like the core conflict of human consciousness. That sounds kind of big, but I demonstrate this with the inner conflict diagram. And the
core is what?
The core conflict of human consciousness. It's what I go into in the Awakening the Wealth Warrior ebook. So, it arises, like it really becomes a worse conflict when you have external authority overriding your values. So when the conflict tends to be between that external authority and your own authority, yourself. And then you internalize that conflict. And then later on in life, you tend to relate to those parts of yourself that are in conflict as something outside of you, and then the one that's reacting to that. And this divide drains our power. It leads to all kinds of disempowering narrations, positions, reflection, vision, and guidance. It leads to really crap guidance. It drains our honor, confidence.
Are you referring to the
self-respect?
Discrepancy between what someone thinks he wants to do and what someone thinks he's ought to do?
Yes. And it's not that there's a conflict between those, but it's how he's been trained to relate to the conflict.
Yes.
Like the fact that our values are in conflict or the two people are in conflict is no big deal. You just resolve it. But the fact that we've been conditioned to relate to it in a certain way. So anyway, we find some compromise to make it comfortable to not pay attention any longer to our values, to just go back to sleep, in other words. And how this relates to like, what is a man?
Are you saying that you feel uncomfortable realizing that there's a distance there between what I want to do and what I think I should do? And you experience a conflict?
Well,
you feel limited in the way.
Let me use a specific example. So let's say the value is health.
Yes.
And I could give an example on a presentation, or fitness, or whatever you say. And as wanting to take responsibility for that, like a man, like I want to get my health back, I want to get in shape, I want to be strong. So I'm going to start running every morning, right? 6:30 in the morning, I'm going to go for a run. The next morning comes, or a couple mornings in, you wake up, you don't want to get out of bed. You just don't feel like it. But you have this awareness that I said I should. You're much more present to this feeling of like, I don't want to, I feel lazy, I feel tired, whatever. And that's a conflict because it's almost like you're two people, the one that said you would do it and the one that doesn't feel like doing it. That's stressful to be divided like that. And so to resolve that, what we tend to do, we tend to go along with the one that's more comfortable. In that case, go back to sleep. But it's not going to be comfortable if we don't resolve the issue of, I said I value my health and fitness and I'm going to do this.
That's interesting to me. Why in that situation, if it's not on topic, why in that situation, not getting up, staying in bed, is more comfortable than why is that more comfortable than not feeling the shame or the whatever, realizing that you're not doing what you think you should be doing?
Yeah, well, it's more physically comfortable.
More physically comfortable.
But it's not going to be psychologically comfortable unless you solve that part of it and we have a way that we automatically do this.
You rationalize it.
Yes.
You explain it. You justify it.
Yes. What I call a narration.
Okay.
Right? It's essentially, you're changing the story from, I said I would do this and I'm pussing out, or I'm not doing it,
to, I'm going to do it tomorrow.
Or I stayed up too late last night. I feel tired. I'll start tomorrow. Or whatever it is.
Right.
Whatever it is. It basically, so that's the conflict. We choose one of the options, and then we rationalize to make it okay. Now we're back in comfort zone. We don't have to face this dilemma anymore. We can just kind of go back to sleep. So for a man, right, if man is like, he faces reality, he takes responsibility, he does what needs, he finds a way to do what needs to be done, he does it, right? This is a real conflict. So I was excited that I kind of mapped, because right now I'm moving back to working like just with men primarily. So I'm liking this way of presenting the inner conflict diagram in this way.
It's very, I hope you can follow me on this one. It's very close to what you said. How did you call it? The basic?
The core conflict of human consciousness.
Okay. It's almost to, I've been thinking, this is my main, trying to understand my main question around humans. And it's very close to this. It's this. The same situation. Imagine that same guy, he gets up, right? And he gets the gratification of doing what he thinks or what he set out to do. And that feels great. And he has a history of that. And knowing that it feels well, he has proved time and time again,
Yes.
Why then, every morning, or why is there still, does he still have to do it over and over again? Meaning there's a little, he has to like get past the point. Because even if he knows it's great and he has proof of it, his body will still say,
Is this hypothetical man you?
No. Well, yes. No, yeah. It's everyone.
Because I don't know that it's everyone.
For example, I'll give another example. Going to the gym. Okay, maybe it's not everyone. Every time I went to the gym, I'll say cycling. Every time I go riding, it's great. I've never regretted riding my bike, you know? And still there are some times when I'm saying, and I have to like get on that bike the first 5 seconds. That to me is baffling. That is like nature working against us. Because there is no reason I should be reserved about taking that bike.
Sure there is. Sure. It's all a matter of like being awake. It's not enough to be able to remember that it feels good, or to know that and remember that you said you would do it, or all these things. It's in the moment. How present are you to your values, what's most important, and how good it feels?
Yes.
Right? It's how you feel in the moment, how integrated you are in the moment. And the force of entropy, right? Like we can only be focused on so much at once. So if let's say the past several hours, whatever your focus or energy has been on, and your movements and whatever, you're now comfortable doing something, and getting up to go do exercise or whatever feels like a change, effort, whatever. You're just not awake to it in that moment.
Okay. No, I'll tell you what's going on sometimes. You know? Like, even if I feel shitty at that moment. And I know if I get on my bike, I will love it. I know also that I've been saying this, what I'm saying right now, so many times. So I know, and I know I will feel good.
That's what I'm saying. Knowing is not enough.
Okay. My body is, so I'll don't explain it to me because I have my own explanation. I want to I want to show to me how contradictory that is. Like, maybe it's not to you, but in how many ways that seems to make no sense. That everything in you mentally, you know it's going to be good. If you think of going to the gym, you know it's going to be good. Physically, your body knows it. You've had the proof time and time. You have the history. It's all there. You have the awareness. You see, I know when I go to the gym, it will feel good.
Yes.
Everything is there. And still, you have to, or I have to, bring myself to do it.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, and I like, that's for me the basic, like, that I'm like, huh? How is that possible?
Yes.
And for you, it's not a contradiction there.
Of course, no, of course. Of course, because knowing's not enough. This is a big illusion.
Knowing is not enough.
Knowing is not enough.
What?
No, the fact that let's say
it's obviously not enough, but that doesn't explain it.
Yes, so of course it does. Let's say that, well, let me finish my explanation, but let's say you read in a book yesterday that you learned that eating meat is good for you. Is better than for you physically than being vegan. Maybe this is not a good example, but let's say that you know it would be better for you to become a businessman. You'd be able to have more money. You'd be able to serve your people, all this. And you kind of think, yeah, I should do that. You know, I want to do that. I'm going to do that. I know it's better for me. I know it feels good to make money, right? But in any one particular moment, just because you had that insight and that desire yesterday, in any one particular moment, let's say you were your desire is all with a woman right now, and you think of business, and it's just this thing over there. You're not present to it. You're not feeling it in that moment. So yeah, we act mostly on our feelings.
Use my example, because that's like becoming a businessman. That's so off, you know? I'm saying, like, that's far off. You could be doing other things, and you're not being a businessman all the time, you know? But, like, in the moment where you feel like complete shit, you're like, ugh, you know? And you have all the time in the world, you know? And you know there's a solution. Going to the gym. And you've done it, and you've proven that to yourself time and time and time again. And there's no other evidence. There's no evidence that it won't work, you know? So it's right there, and you know what to do, and it's conscious, and it's in your body, and you still have to bring yourself to do it.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying, huh?
Yes.
So map that on.
Let me see if I can, let me see.
Because I have an explanation too, but I want to listen first.
Yes. Okay, let's say, let me try this angle. You have your brain with all its neurons firing and whatever. At any one point in time, they're firing in such a way, and certain ones are, certain ones aren't. Your mind can make a connection to something that you learned yesterday, or something that you want to do, or a whole schema that like how you feel when you ride your bike and whatever. But in this moment, it's not configured like that. You might be able to make that connection and then pull it all together again. Then you feel like riding. But in any one moment, it's figured in a different way, giving different feelings. And just because you have this configuration that you could reconfigure that's familiar, or that you could access like a filing drawer or something, just because it's in there, doesn't mean that you're so awake to it that you feel like doing it.
Okay. That's an explanation, and
I used awake because it's a great metaphor.
Okay, I'm going to push back. In that moment, that same moment, I'm very awake to the fact that cycling or going to the gym is going to help me. I'm very awake to it. In fact, not going or nothing, that that feels like nothing. There's no connection there to that. I don't understand what my reasoning, and there's no reasoning, justification. There's complete emptiness in that moment, like sitting here not feeling well, and there's complete aliveness to the fact, if aliveness, or there's like, I can see how great it would be to go to the gym.
Yes.
I know how great it would be to the gym. I'm still thinking like, what is the state that I have to get myself out of?
Yes. So, like you said, you used awake in a way that I wouldn't use it.
Okay.
I would say if you don't feel like doing it, you're not awake.
Uh-huh.
So there's knowing, there's like being clear, and then there's being awake. Knowing is like, it's somewhere in my brain. I could access it. I have this knowledge, right? Being clear is like, yeah, I can see it. I know it's good for me. But I don't feel like it. Being awake is, and this is why I talk about integration, because, when you go to the gym and you start doing it, you become integrated. Everything around you, your memories of all the other times you've been to the gym, your focus, you're there, you're present, you're in it, you're in the cycling or whatever, and then the feelings are there. But when you're not and you can develop that integration just by sitting there. Like sometimes,
I understand. I understand.
And
what's baffling to me is that to be awake is a constant practice. You have to fight for it, or you have to cultivate it. You have to practice it. That's what's shocking to me. Even though we know, because when you put it with aliveness, that's just putting the problem that I presented in an earlier thing, and maybe in a more solvable thing. And I can see, because that's baffling to me, that awakeness, the way you define it, is a constant, a fight, or not a fight, but a practice. It is not default. It's not, and you can't stay there, or you can, but you have to you have to work for it. That's shocking to me, because you know the advantages, because you know everything about it.
This is the grand illusion that's perpetrated from the time that you're a kid. It's like your parents told you, I told you not to do this, or I told you it's not good for you, or you should know this by now. Knowing it's just not enough. It's just not enough, And we're made to feel guilty if we don't do what we were told to do. You know to do it. You know what's going to happen if you don't do it. It's just not enough.
But staying there.
I mean, we're animals.
I know it's not enough. It's clear, but that doesn't, because you're staying where you are in shit, that's natural. I don't have to work for that. That comes very natural to me. So my explanation is new to me. And it's an element in rest tries to stay in rest. An element in motion tries to continue to be in motion. So if you were even a human being and you're in shit, your natural state, if nothing else happens, your natural thing is to continue to be in shit. And you have to something has to push that, or something has to push you. And you have to bring yourself, create momentum. And that's mind-boggling to me. That's mind-boggling and beautiful also to see that in the end, we're just like objects. If we're in shit, our natural way is to continue to be in shit. And you have to bring yourself out of it. You have to bring yourself to aliveness.
Well, this is what I show with the inner conflict diagram, is that, because there's there's pain to exerting effort and taking responsibility. And, what if I really confront, I've been shitting and shit for the last 10 years. And all the shit I've been complaining about is my own fault, right? So there's a fear of guilt. I'll have to take that on. Then there's the fear of responsibility. Like, what if I do this and I fuck it up and I can't make it, right? Or what if I do it and I realize I should be doing even more? And then there's like the pain of effort. And then there's fear. What if, so there's actually so much in change, in taking responsibility. There's all these obstacles of what could go wrong. And we, when we lay in bed every morning, we've had this idea that I want to take responsibility for my life and fitness. And then every day we're making an excuse and we don't do it, and we don't do it. And then we do it and we do it and then we don't do it and then we don't do it. That stress of having to like recommit ourselves and then deal with our failure and then and we're dealing with this, in the moment we say, it's okay, I'll start tomorrow. So we're programming ourselves with narrations that make it okay to give up. Then these narrations over time, because it's too stressful going back and forth, will develop a position that makes it okay not to even try anymore. I'm not a morning person. I'm not like one of those fitness guys obsessed with fitness, man. I'm here to enjoy life, right? You develop a position, beliefs that make it okay to stay where you are, because the stress of trying to change again and again and again is too difficult. Also, your vision changes. Your reflection of who you are changes, but stress is painful. So we have to find a way to then be comfortable. And, so to initiate lasting change, we've got to fight, right? Here's the war, right? We've got to combat all the stuff that psychologically we put in place to make it comfortable to not be acting on our values, including perhaps, I've surrounded myself with friends who also don't value fitness. It's more comfortable to be around them than it is to be around people really committed to fitness, right?
Situation.
But it's true, right? No, it would be more comfortable in that regard for me not to be hanging out with you, how committed you are to your cycling, whereas I've not been committed to my fitness very much these past several years. So,
I can see you have like the tools to which is the most important, which is the tools to get out of it. And the explanation is informed by those tools. I think it's great. To me, it didn't. To me, it doesn't explain the which is why inertia. Why inertia in the moments that completely feel no sense, have proof that we can get out, it's easy, whatever.
No, but you don't feel. You don't feel like doing it, or you do it. No.
But that's a way you can try to convince me of that. But I know in that.
No, I'm confronting you to be rigorous with your speech because it's a big deal. It's
no, because I feel in that moment, say going to the fitness, I feel like.
I feel like what?
That it's going to be great to go to the fitness. I know it's going to be great.
You know it.
Yes.
But what do you feel in the moment when you don't do it? When you don't feel like doing it? How much do you really feel like doing it?
That's by definition now. That's just, if you don't go, it means you don't feel like it. It's by definition.
No, but you're saying that you feel like doing it, but you're not doing it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm questioning that. How much do you really feel like doing it in those moments when you're resisting it?
100%.
You really feel like doing it?
Well, I know, I sense, I experience everything is saying, go to the gym.
No, everything is saying. But
I know where you're going. Okay. I can't argue with it. Because you're going to say, since you're not doing it, you're not really feeling it. And that's your proof.
No. But I'm asking you to really be rigorous with how much you're really feeling like doing it. You're saying, I think what you're really saying is that you know it, you're clear on it, you can imagine it would feel really good, and you feel like you should do it, you feel, you can sense it would be, you can imagine it would be great, but you don't feel actually like doing it or you would do it.
Okay.
And so...
Then my question is, why do I not feel like doing it? I'm just trying to say it in your words now. Why do I not feel like doing it? Why? This is the basic question to me. Why do I have to bring myself to feeling like doing it? That to me is mind-boggling and the basic human tragedy in a way.
Well, I agree that it's the basic tragedy or conflict of human consciousness, but
why do I have to bring myself to feeling it when everything is going in that direction? Where does that come from?
But everything's not going in that direction. You're placing you're assuming that because you have knowledge that you should feel like doing something, which to me sounds equally as like, huh? Just because you have this knowledge, obviously, right, doesn't mean you feel like doing it. This is the issue. And what I'm saying is, let's say, for example, that what I'm saying is you have to, it's not enough to have the single connection to the knowledge or a few connections. You have to reintegrate, and that gives you your feelings.
Yes.
So just because you can access it in your brain, knowledge that it would be good for you, that it would feel good or whatever, like you can't feel like doing everything all the time. You have to feel like something. You have to be connected to something. And so it's like you can't think of everything at the same time. You can't be focused on everything at the same time. So you're not going to feel like everything at the same time. I think that this kind of unspoken assumption that we have also gives us an easy way to judge ourselves and other people for not doing what we or they know that we should do. It's, to me, there's great liberty and power in realizing just the nature of how we are, that,
Well, yeah, that's my realization. Like that we're objects in the end, or natural objects. You have to bring yourself to feel a certain way. And that thinking is not enough. Having the history is not enough. Conceptually seeing it clear is not enough. Having a bazillion times proof is not enough. Seeing a vision is not enough. All of that, it's not enough. Or it could be that it's not enough. So what it is, so there is something there you have to practice. You have to do. You have to bring yourself. You have to create momentum. You have to get yourself. You have to almost do the actions. Do the actions, and then you will feel. And Like the knowing is not enough. Thinking is not enough. Conceptual clarity is not enough. Vision is not enough. It's incredible to me.
Yeah. And and then there's these, okay, well, what should we do about it, right? Like, what are the solutions?
Right.
What do we do about it? And you see a lot of people will implement, but what to do about it is to take the role of the external authority, like their parent, and maybe talk like their parent. Get off your ass and fucking get to the gym. We'll even talk second person to ourselves, right? Or we'll try to force ourselves to do what we don't want to do. And some of these strategies can just exacerbate this divide inside of us, right? And so this was all my work. This is all my work. It was all about this one problem, this one major thing, which I think is the biggest problem. And so the morning ritual is like, how can I just wake up into wanting to do it? So it just happens. How can I design, basically, so I don't have to try to think about it. I don't have to try to make myself do it. Whatever. It just, one, it's attractive. Two, it just becomes automatic. And
this is what I'm saying in a way. It never is. Because otherwise you'd be getting up in the morning every day. It never is.
It's not us. I can say there certainly have been times when I have, like, I remember when I was staying in Rachel's house on the cliffs above the ocean, you can hear the waves. It's the sea breeze, and you know you're in this glorious place. And like, oh, the sun's gonna come up, and like, I want to go greet the sunset. And I got my allies here, and I want to go with them. And so yeah, like getting out of bed is like much more attractive than like staying asleep and missing out on this glorious morning.
Right.
Know? And so that's kind of my approach to this. Is what if we can create those and like we've just started with this, but what if it could somehow be even more fucking glorious or much?
Because I can tell you now, I still have to bring myself to get up. Clock goes out as 4. My first thought is I would like to sleep more. It's not, let's go, and I have to boom switch that. So I'm eager to see that.
You also have many years, 45 years. The other way.
Well, no, there's been times I got up very early, but it has never become the default state.
Yes. So you're dealing with neurology of 45 years minus however many days that you did do it, but you never had the neurology of just like, it's so like it.
What's shocking is that most people, I would say, have that neurology. Why is that? Why is it not like 50-50? That half of the people love to get up in the morning.
I think we're also getting up to shitty lives. And I mean, to wake up is to realize, oh, I'm me, and I'm in this life, and I got this shit to do, and I'm fucking dead. And most people would rather go back to sleep than stay asleep, right?
I like my explanation. That it is when you're asleep, your default natural state is to stay asleep, because that's the first law of nature. That's Newton's first law. Whatever your state you're in, it wants to continue that state, and something needs to happen to change that. So I say,
yeah, but when I was in this,
I want to continue. Sorry. So I say, even the people who love to get up in the morning, they've developed a way to overcome their basic desire to continue to sleep. And they found a very practical way, but their basic desire, natural desire, is to continue to sleep. That's how I look at things. And that's what I hear also when you say you create allies, this. So that picture of getting up now becomes more powerful and more enjoyable than continue to sleep. So you still have to override it. You override something that's natural there.
So what happens when we wake up in the morning? It's not to the alarm clock, right? Slowly over time, good birds, sun's coming up, your children laughing, you smell the coffee. At some point, after you all these things together, and you want to get up. I'm not saying all times, in all cases, all people, but it could be like that, Like, what if you went to bed so early, and what if you knew you had a harem of naked girls at 6 a.m.
Well, I have, but I still have to bring myself to get up.
No, you don't have to. But they're in the other room, and they're going to be going off to work soon. But they're there, and they'll be awake and naked and playful for the next hour. And you don't have to get up. In many cases, you probably get your ass up.
I wouldn't get my ass up. We get something else up.
But I mean, waking up to like the jolting alarm, which is like a reminder that, fuck, I said the other day when I was feeling differently that I'll get up today.
You have a very pragmatic explanation and solution, and what I'm trying to understand comes a step earlier. Is that contradiction? Maybe it's not a contradiction, but that there seems to be a natural state. There seems to be a natural state for no change. And if you want it, you have to do something, or something has to happen. And that's interesting to me. That change is not something that is natural. You getting up is not something that's natural.
Getting up is natural, but if you want to make yourself get up at a certain time every day, that's a different thing. This is the question of authority. It's like making your child do what you want them to do. The child just wants to do what it wants to do, right? Because I think it is natural to wake up. Whatever, wake up, it's natural to wake up. No, something has happened, right? The sun has come out.
It's true.
Whatever. But, I felt a similar way this morning. Like, I didn't go to sleep until maybe it was past 1 in the morning. So when the alarm went off at 5:30, I was right in the middle of a deep dream. I was not feeling like getting up, and I also had plenty of narrations trying to make it okay to not get up. you know. And the foot is a great excuse not to get up. I actually emailed you around
I saw
2 in the morning. Or WhatsApp just saying, yeah, fucking get it back. But,
it's good this morning, man.
you know, but a great morning ritual could be letting yourself wake up with the sun. Sleeping in a room to where it's actually going to receive the sunlight and the noises of the birds. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Just let yourself gradually wake up. Or, you know, like maybe waking up is you create something with your lover where she just starts kissing your body slowly. There's nothing you have to do, but imagine anything's possible, you know, like design a morning ritual. It's like, ooh, you know, if I could
We used to have a Japanese girlfriend, and get up at 5:30, and the deal was if she woke me up, give me a blowjob, then I got up after that. Easy.
There you go.
Wake up to that and go, oh, what?
So much of the conflict there, right?
Well, still, you're really determined to, yeah, I'll get up. And then you go, oh. Hey!
But when you're sleeping, it's like me in the middle of this dream, I'm in another world. All my feelings are about this world that I'm in. And then, like, from outside of this world somewhere, there's this fucking annoying alarm that is jolting and
That's what
I want to go back to this world that I was in.
You want to stay there.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. This other world doesn't feel real. It's alarm. It's like outside of me.
But that's my interesting question. Why do we want to stay in that world and not in the other?
In that moment, that's the world we're in.
Yes, and my only explanation is that because that's the one we're in. Not because it's better, not because you know the world are like I feel like shit and like and it's still you want to stay there.
That's the one we're completely connected to in that moment. It's like imagine you're watching a football game on the television. You're having a beer. Oh man, it's a great fucking game. You're into it. You're thinking about who's going to win. You're thinking about the players. Like you're not even really in this world of what's going on around you. You're in the game. You're integrated on the game. And let's say you're married and your wife is like, I just said you take out the trash. Come take out the trash. Like she's over there. Yes, you did say you would do it. So she's right in a way. But she's trying to make you do something else. It's like, you're in this world, and she's this fucking...
Yep.
Yeah, you know you said you would do it. But you're in this world. And I think that's the way it often occurs when we're in some world, and there's a... Fuck, I said I would do that. I should do this. You know, it's like it's a vague awareness that I said I would do it that's over there. And I'm not integrated to it, but I'm thinking that it's I'm here and I said this. It's both, and there's the conflict.
I'm saying that even if that world where you're in is shit, and the other world is calling you because it's beautiful and gorgeous, you still have to bring yourself to do that. You still want to stay in that shit world. That's what's shocking to me. Because in your example...
Not necessarily.
That's what I'm saying.
No, it depends on the call. You know, you could be all into that football game and a beautiful Brazilian girl walks by triggers a memory and a possibility. She gives you a certain look, and you go and chase after attention.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens.
I'm saying it depends on the call. Saying you don't have to.
Of course, it depends on the call, but I'm saying
you said you have to make yourself.
Yes, because I see that there's a very natural pull to stay where you are, no matter what's calling you, no matter how shitty this is. There's still a natural pull to stay here.
Yes, there's a pull, but there can be a stronger pull to another world that comes along, and you go with that. And you don't have to make yourself do it. For example, like, your kid runs out into the street, the busy street. You are going to fucking leave this world in a second and run chase after you.
Okay, then I'll say it this way. If the value of this pool here being, it's completely irrational. That's what I'm saying. Because this world, on a scale of 0 to 10, could be 0 in terms of enjoyability. And the pool of that could be 5. And rationally, there is no way that would not pull you out of it. And you will still feel like it's shitty here and I'm stuck here and I still want to stay here. That world has to be a lot better than this one before it has any pulling force. It's not just, even if it's a little bit better, it's not going to pull you out. There is something.
I think you're still in this, I want to call it an illusion, but this trap of what you're calling a pull. It's not that this world is better over there. It's the pull. Only the pull has to be stronger. And if the pull is stronger, you'll go with it. If you become more integrated on that other whatever, you'll go with it. It's not that this world is better. I might, let's take me with doing my ice stands. Like, I know conceptually and I can recall it, how great I feel when I do an ice stand. I can know it. I can think about it right now. I can know it. But I'm not feeling it right now. But when I start doing the work, and I start, I feel it. Then there's a difference. I think a lot of this is the words that we use to talk about what's going on in our body and our mind. It's not specific enough, and it confuses things. Like, there's a difference between remembering right now how it feels to do an ice stand, which I'm just thinking about it. I don't feel it right now. And then there's I start doing the work and now I'm remembering it, but it's a completely different thing because, how could I not have been doing this for fucking 10 years? You know, it's like, knowing or remembering or, that it's better or whatever. Of course it's not enough. There's two completely different knowings there, two completely different rememberings there. And one is there's degrees of knowing, fucking vibrating your body, everything is there, versus just having a knowing. And that's why I create these other words about being awake versus knowing. There's a spectrum there, and it's huge. It can be huge. So